You gotta come back with me.
I don't think I'm gonna fit in a DeLorean.
Damn it.
Yeah, a little plot hole there.
Stupid sense of humor. Anyway, folks, this is the Back to the Future show here on the Retro Review Show, and it is October 21st, 2015. And I'm at all that I've actually lived this long.
35 years?
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm going to keep it that way. 35 sounds like a good number. Yeah.
The last video, you already told them, you know, how old you're going to be the 25th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't forget that.
Again, plugging it hard.
Those who knew me on Facebook and everything already know what my birthday dinner was. I got that early and everything. I'm still stuffed from that.
There you go.
Oreo, I tell you what, Reese's ice cream cake is really good.
No, you can't go wrong with Reese's.
Oh, no.
No, you can't.
I mean, there's no way.
No.
Anyway.
It's the reason why most fat people have diabetes.
Yeah.
No, that and Snickers. Right in there.
But anyway, today, we're not going to be able to do this on live today.
Yeah.
Technical difficulties. We're sorry. But everything, the show will go on. This show is going to air at 4:29 p.m.
Yep.
on Wednesday, October 21st, 2015. So I've got that on, those who know, already know and everything. I've got the invites from, an event invite on my Facebook page, and those who follow us on the Facebook fan page, William Baxter Experience on Facebook, please watch this, and please, I beg of you, like this video. Like it as many times as you can and everything. Comment down below. We're going to have a little Q&A as well.
Yep.
And another thing, I was looking on my Google account, which is adjoined to the Facebook account.
Right.
And it says that the channel alone has got almost 900 views.
Damn, that's pretty good. What we were looking at 600 views here.
Yeah, on the YouTube channel it says that, but on through Google and everything,
Really?
it also almost 900 views total.
Nice.
So we're getting there. Please keep watching, folks, and everything, and hopefully, you know, we can get this thing to go viral and everything. I mean,
there you go.
There's a few people that have given me an email that's kind of interested in cooperating with us too. So let's make this happen and everything.
After all, who doesn't want to see more of these beautiful mugs
of
right
course.
here? Yeah.
I mean, hey.
In the words of Ric Flair, styling and profiling.
Oh, there we go.
Woo!
And you know what? We got to do a review about that.
There you go.
The whole channel is going to be more than just movie reviews, but we got a lot going on and a lot scheduled and everything for the next month and everything. But just to let you know, at the end of December, throughout most of January, up to February, we are going to take a nice long break, and we will not come back until it's time for Deadpool to come out. So, but there will be news reports, news alerts and everything by Paul or myself and everything, periodically and everything, whatever important news comes up in the world of movies or television. So, without further ado, let's start it off.
Yeah, Back to the Future Trilogy.
Here on the William Baxter Experience, the Retro Review Show. Okay, well, what we're going to start with first is the original, the classic, 1985's Back to the Future. It was the highest grossing film of 1985. No one knew that this film was going to do what it did. It was a major surprise hit.
Well, it came out of nowhere, you know. It tackled the time travel genre, you know. It reached, of course, Michael J. Fox's fandom.
Yeah, he was back in that day. He was on the show Family Ties, which was another wonderful show from the 80s. If you go into Netflix, please check that out because it's highly recommendable.
We previously mentioned it in the Tremors 5 Bloodlines video. Michael Gross.
Yes, who played the father on the show.
Oh yes. Yeah. Kind of hard to see him go from Family Man to Graboid Killer, but reach for the stars.
Yeah. Diversity in acting.
There you go.
But
something most people nowadays don't have.
Yeah, unfortunately, Bruce Willis will phone call his in from one country to another. Yeah. That's why.
But I think most of it is Bruce Willis's voice and attitude. You can't go from John McClane to being, Mr. Dad loving guy. There's just no way to do it. You don't go from John McClane to Mr. Mom. Give a little nod.
But hey, Mr. Mom was Batman.
Yeah, it's true.
Anyway,
it's true.
Back on subject and everything. Back to the Future Part 2. As I've said before.
Part 1.
Part 1. That's right. I'm sorry.
The original Back to the Future.
Yeah. We This trilogy is my favorite of all time and everything. This is my favorite movie. I think I've watched this movie almost as much as I've watched Star Wars, and that's a lot. I can remember owning the VHS copy. I can remember I own the soundtrack, as a matter of fact. I've got it somewhere around here and everything right now. It's probably in my bag. But The Power of Love, Back in Time by Huey Lewis and the News. Eric Clapton, he donated the song there and everything. Lindsey Buckingham of Fleetwood Mac. They had some old 50s
Johnny B. Good.
Johnny B. Good, but it was actually done by the guy who taught Marty McFly how to play the guitar, or Michael J. Fox. You know, he actually did that version of Johnny B. Good, but it was credited under Marty McFly. But to get into the backstory of this movie and everything, producer Bob Gale was him and Robert Zemeckis had been a writing team for some time, and their first screenplay they wrote was 1941 for Steven Spielberg. Those who know what 1941 is, it was Steven Spielberg's first Bond.
Yeah.
It starred John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, and a few others, but it was nonetheless funny but weird at the same time. A very loud movie.
Well, you have Aykroyd in it. It's gonna be weird.
But they also did a few other movies for Spielberg, you know. But they also had Robert Zemeckis' first film was I Want to Hold Your Hand, and which was produced by Spielberg, and Spielberg produced another movie, Used Cars, with Kurt Russell, which, by the way, I recommend that movie. That is a really funny movie. But those movies flopped. They got good receptions in previews, but when they came out in the box office, they bombed. So, you know, Robert Zemeckis, you know, and Bob Gale were trying to look up for a new vessel to write. Bob Gale was at home at his parents' house, and he was looking through in the attic and through his father's yearbook. He found out that his father was president of this and president of that, and one of the most popular guys in school. And the thought occurred to him: if I traveled back in time and met my father, would I have been friends with him?
Yeah.
And of course, you know, we always think that. You know, how would we react towards our parents? You know, if we went back into time, and how would we get along with them and everything? Would it be just like trying to get along with yourself, which is a hard thing to do?
I get along with myself very well. That's mostly because I just listen to what I want to do and just do it.
But anyway, he found that as a good premise, so he brought it to Bob Zemeckis, and they both started writing it. They decided to start shopping it around. They wanted, you know, they were hesitant to give it to Spielberg because they didn't want to, you know, put any more tarnish towards Spielberg and everything, because they you know, they're basically were proteges of Steven Spielberg, especially Robert Zemeckis. So what happened was that they shopped it around to Columbia Pictures. Columbia Pictures thought it was, you know, too kiddie friendly for a comedy, because back then R-rated comedies were the big thing.
Oh yeah.
And they shopped it to Disney.
Well, you know, it was the 80s. It was, you know, no.
And they shopped it to Disney, of all people, and Disney said that it's too racy because of the relationship between the mother and the son.
Yeah.
Because the mother, you know, had a crush on her son. But lo and behold, it finally got.
I bet Oedipus would have had something to do with it.
Yeah.
Sigmund Freud going to town on that.
But lo and behold, they went back to Steven Spielberg. Spielberg, you know, pushed for it because he had a lot of pull over at Universal.
Yeah.
And then, you know, lo and behold, they were able to get it made. Now, what helped get it made is that Robert Zemeckis did a movie called Romancing the Stone that was produced by Michael Douglas, and that was a big success. So that helped push push it in motion and everything, and they started getting it hurried up and put in production and everything. So they have it in time for a summer release back in '84. So they had went around, shopped around for actors and everything to play Marty McFly. It was rumored they went to Johnny Depp, who was just off of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yep.
They went to see Thomas Howell. Originally it was going to be for Michael J. Fox, but Michael J. Fox could not get a release from his contract in Family Ties.
Yep.
And at that very same time that Back to the Future was being filmed, Michael J. Fox was just starting on this movie Teen Wolf, which was a B movie, you know, comedy.
It was a B movie that made its way into a lot of hearts.
Yeah.
You know,
oddly enough, this movie got made before Back to the Future.
Yeah.
But did come out to after it. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But so Michael J. Fox was unavailable. So they got a really good actor named Eric Stoltz.
Yep.
And as time went on, while they were filming and everything, they realized he's just not right for the part. I mean, they had gotten Christopher Lloyd, which was perfect.
Yeah,
part.
that was dead on.
Well, Christopher Lloyd was famous from being a character actor from a lot of movies and television, and also from playing Reverend Jim on Taxi.
Yeah, he was in Dennis the Menace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
where are you going to see an actor like that play a hobo?
Yeah. Funny thing is, him and Leah Thompson did a lot of movies together,
Yeah.
but they never shared screen time.
Yep.
So, but Leah Thompson played the mother in Back to the Future movies. But what happened was that Eric Stoltz wasn't working out. So they went back to the producers over at Family Ties and said, "We'll do whatever we can and everything to get Michael to be in this movie. We want him in this movie."
Very smart move on their part. Very smart move.
And producer of the show and everything says, "Okay, but you have to film around our schedule." So Michael J. Fox was literally only getting a couple hours of sleep for a few months and everything at the time and everything during making Back to the Future and Family Ties. So a lot of people, that's a task.
That's a hard thing to work on.
Oh yeah.
You're basically running third shift.
Yeah.
I mean, we're both used to be third shift Walmart stockers. Well, he still is, but anyway, it's a hard life to work.
2 times associated the month.
There you go. His claim to fame, the golden boy. But it's a hard thing to work. You got a full schedule during the day, full schedule at night, especially, if you got anything else going on, family, what have you. So I'm imagining it was pretty hard on Michael Fox. I mean. And
also joining him in the cast was Crispin Glover.
Yep.
If you get a chance, you got to look him up on YouTube. This he's quirky, he's out there.
That's to say the least.
I understand they had a few problems with him during the making of this movie. I'm not really sure, but Thomas F. Wilson, who played Biff, Leah Thompson, very beautiful Leah Thompson.
Oh yes. We actually mentioned her in our Jaws franchise review.
Yeah, and of course there's James Tolkien, who played what was his name? The dean of students.
Yeah.
Strickland.
Yeah.
Strickland. And James Tolkien, that man can never fail. The man can just act up against a wall and everything and make the wall cry. But I have to say, this movie was just so much fun.
It was fun. It had an interesting premise to it. Just all around comedy at the same time as it played a little bit at a dramatization with the fact that if the past didn't go just right, Marty McFly wouldn't actually be born.
Yeah. What happened was Marty got called to the Twin Pines Mall.
Yep.
And spoiler alert and everything, he finds out Doc has stole some plutonium and everything from Libyan nationalists, terrorists. And they find where he's at. They shoot Doc, and Marty jumps into the DeLorean and drives off trying to escape the terrorists. Marty doesn't,
hitting 88 miles per hour.
Yeah, and accidentally knocks open the time circuits and goes into the past, the year 1955, November 2nd, 1955. And Marty ends up meeting his father.
Yeah.
When he walks around Hill Valley, he realizes that he's
Well, at first he crashes into that barn.
Yeah.
Yeah. The whole lot that the mall was built on was a pine tree farm.
Yeah, it was going to be. He wanted to Old Man Peabody.
Yeah, Old Man Peabody wanted to build a pine tree farm.
Another spoiler alert: Marty runs over one of the pine trees.
Yeah.
So when we talk about the end of the film and everything, we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
But so Marty meets his father, and he sees how Beth was a bully to him even then, as he was in and then in 1985.
You see it in the opening of the film before he gets the call from Doc Brown.
Yeah. So as I said, there's so much memorable stuff and everything. Marty finding out that the reason why his dad fell in front of the car is that he's being a peeping Tom while his mom was upstairs dressing and everything.
Go figure, when you're peeping, you're not looking at how well you're on that tree branch,
Yeah. But he pushes his dad out of the way, and he gets hit with the car.
Yeah.
And then he gets brought into the house and everything, where his mother had been nursing him and everything, and his mother fell in love with him. right there on the spot was
falls in love with him under the name of Calvin Klein.
Yeah, because of his underwear.
Yeah.
So, but what happens is that he sees his family and everything. He actually meets his uncle, who he's never met before, as a baby, who's always in jail, as you will listen in the beginning of the film. And
the baby will not leave the playpen. Loves the playpen.
Loves the bars.
Yeah.
But so he goes and looks for Doc and everything, and he finds the younger Doc Brown. And Doc Brown's conducting a brain experiment or something, or a...
Well, he had just hit his head on the toilet.
Yeah.
He thought he might have a concussion, but that's where he actually came up with the idea for the flux capacitor.
Yeah.
The thing that makes the DeLorean be able to travel into time. But, you know, as Marty McFly crashes into 1955, you know, time circuits are depleted, you know, and that's where the whole premise of the clock tower comes in.
Yeah.
In the beginning of the movie, while he's at the school, you see them handing out flyers to save this clock tower, which is a big piece of their town's history. It was struck by lightning in 1955, and it actually stopped the clock at that exact time it was struck.
Yeah.
Which is, they come to find out, is the way they will create the, 1.21 gigawatts of electricity required to recharge the flux capacitor.
Now, one thing that was really, you know, when it came to the relationship Marty has, he finds out how, you know, how a real person his dad is, how his dad and him had so many similarities, and how he became closer with his dad's younger self and everything, and how he understood how insecure his father is when it comes to his writing and everything, that his father is a really good writer.
Oh, yeah.
And that Marty wants to be a musician and a rock star, and Marty feels the same way. But some of the, and that's one of the most, the thing that you think about and everything when it comes to your father and everything. My father's been gone for 4 years, and you're like, you know, wouldn't it be nice to have had some type of a relationship like that as a young man? You know, get to know your dad as a young man, but... You know,
as they kind of see in the beginning of the movie, you know, his father's kind of a defeated man, beaten down. You know, he was the loser in high school. He ended up being, you know, down on his luck as he got older. You know, he didn't work as a writer. He actually began doing work for Biff, which he had been doing since high school.
Yep.
You know, Marty kind of saw his dad as a loser, you know, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Which I think we all wonder, you know, how our fathers or our parents would have been at a younger age, you know, time laid out ahead of them, able to do whatever, you know, just seizing the opportunity.
Yeah,
you know?
And a lot, you know, one of the things is that the sacrifices your parents make and everything that puts them in that position. So if
there's any kids watching this, be appreciated.
Yeah.
You know, people go through
especially
a lot
when it comes to my kids.
Oh, and mine.
But one of the most memorable scenes and everything was when Marty was trying to get his dad to ask his mother Lorraine out.
Yeah.
And he was having all these problems because Lorraine just got the hots for him. So what happened was that they were at the Lou's Cafe, which is always a pinnacle part of the Back to the Future.
Oh yeah, it appears in every single one.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah.
And what happened was Marty was trying to get his dad to say something, and then Biff interferes and everything because he told George not to be in that place again. And so Marty intervenes and, you know, supposedly punched Biff and everything. But the funny thing is, when it came to the punch, the actual punch, it's actually Eric Stoltz.
There you go.
It's the one scene they never went back to film and everything. That's actually Eric Stoltz's fist hitting Biff.
Well, you're a guy that size. You really want some small guy just getting you on film twice, you know?
But what it ended up happening is that Marty runs out of the place and he sees these two kids on the makeshift scooters, and he breaks the top thing off, which was part of a milk crate and everything, and he breaks it off. And he starts skateboarding it.
Oh, yeah.
And the kids are like, wow, look at him go. Because skateboard wasn't invented in 1955. No. And so he's, you know, skating around the block and everything to elude Biff and his gang. And they're just looking at him like... So
you know, it's that point where they're taking a skateboard and they're beating a vehicle with this. You know, 1955, I don't quite remember what model that car was.
I think it was a...
But
47 Chevy? Or
it may have been. It was a rag top. I know that convertible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's mentioned in part 2 and everything what it is, but I can't. Yeah. That's when when American cars were made to take a licking.
It was a muscle car.
Yeah. But anyway, they get in there and they start chasing him around and everything. And right when they caught him and everything, he's caught in front of the car and everything. You see, he's going to get rammed into a manure truck. Yep. Marty jumps over the hood of the car, climbs in, and jumps over the trunk and everything, and lands back onto the skateboard. While everybody's turning around looking at what he had just done, Biff crashes into what ends up being the Monarch to Biff's character and everything. Crashes into a large load of manure, and it fills up the car. So to get up to the thing is that Marty's mom goes and asks him to the undersea, the enchantment of the undersea dance, which was the pivotal moment for George and Lorraine McFly.
That was the moment they shared their first kiss and fell in love.
Yeah. And so Marty is trying, so he agrees and everything, so he tries to plan and everything while he's got Lorraine in the car and everything. He's going to unwantingly to try to fill his mom up.
Yeah.
And George was supposed to come in and say, "Hey, you, get your damn hands off her." Well,
which watching Chris, it was the funniest part. Crispin Glover trying to say that in the nerdy way.
Yeah, and Crispin Glover, as I said, he's out there, he's quirky, but he's really good actor.
If they'd have put a set of those black rim glasses on him, that is the quintessential nerd that everybody has ever played. If anybody's ever drawn a nerd, that is exactly how it would have looked.
But what was great about it, what was just absolutely great about it and everything, is that Michael J. Fox was more nervous than his mom, and his mom, he found out and everything, was easy.
Yeah. And a drinker.
Because you find out in the beginning of the film that his mom was a major alcoholic and was weathered down and everything due to the alcoholism. But he's like all nervous and everything, and then she kisses him, and he's like, something's gonna happen, explode.
It was a moment in the film that had to be just as awkward for the characters playing it as it would be for the audience.
Leah Thompson wants to kiss me.
That's not the awkward part. The context of knowing that in the movie that is your mother. I mean, Jesus. Most guys would have a hard time with a woman saying, "Call me mommy," let alone that being the woman playing your mother in a film. I mean, that's a mood killer right there.
And also, not to go off subject again, sister thing like in Star Wars. The Empire Strikes Back scene where he kisses.
Well, there was actually a Star Wars reference in Back to the Future.
Yeah,
the fact that Marty McFly, in order to get his father's courage up, pays a visit.
Star Trek is a Star Trek reference.
No, he said he was Darth Vader.
But also used.
He did use. So
he dressed up in the plutonium suit.
I guess right there's the double, the double whammy right there. Introduces himself as Lord Vader, has a Walkman on his father's head.
He's also
blaring.
If you also look carefully, he's got a blow dryer. So if you look at the deleted scenes, you're like, why does Marty got a blow dryer? Because they don't have blow dryers. Watch the deleted scenes for Back to the Future and everything. They'll explain it. But also the music that they were playing was from the
Van Halen.
Yeah, it was Eddie Van Halen from the soundtrack to Wildlife. Which was another movie that Eric Stoltz was in with Chris Penn. And Leah Thompson.
There you go.
So, but as I said, it's a very rare song. Look that up. Done at City. But and the Wildlife, it's not on DVD or Blu-ray. It's only available. It's only been available on VHS, which I'm happy to say I own. Because it was my copy of my brother's and everything. It's very hard to find, but if you ever look it up, find it.
I'm sure it's probably on YouTube or some internet.
It's got to be
somewhere.
But again, when we get to the enchantment of the sea dance, all the plans that while Doc's working on the weather beam and everything hooked up to the clock tower, Marty's been trying to tell him about the future, warning him that he dies in 1985. The moment he leaves 1985.
Which the whole time he's telling him, you can't tell me anything, the time paradox. Anybody who's ever seen a time travel movie knows about this paradox, you know, so.
And anyway, he writes him a letter and he puts it into his pocket. Now, while Marty's at the dance and everything, he's waiting for George. George realizes he's late. But during that time, Biff intervenes. He gets over there and he finds where they're at, and he, grabs Marty and everything, and they take him off. His boys take him off, and he sees Lorraine in there, so he's going to get in there because he's been drinking, and he's assaulting Lorraine.
Drags her out to his vehicle.
No, actually, it was the same vehicle that Marty was in. Yeah. But so George shows up, and he goes, "Hey, you, get your damn hands!" And he realizes it's Biff that's in the car.
Instead of what Michael J. Fox is, what 5'6"?
Yeah,
5'7".
Roughly around there.
Instead of a 5'6", 5'7" guy, he's pulling a 6'2" guy out of a vehicle.
Anyway, Lorraine notices George is there. She's begging him for help, and then finally he's like, "You got a problem with mine?" And then George stands up. He says, "No, Biff, you leave her alone." And then so Biff comes out of the car. Yeah. George tries to take a swing. He grabs him. He's about to break his arm. And then Lorraine tries to get on him, and he pushes Lorraine down, and she falls to the ground, and George had enough, so you see him balling his hand up.
Oh, yeah. And the look on his face of just pure rage. Yeah. That just perfect right there.
And he knocks him out with one punch.
One hit.
And he spins him around.
Oh, yeah. It's that classic underdog, You get that movie, you're rooting for this guy, he's supposedly weaker than, but you find he digs down deep, especially in this case for the lady he loves, and just pops this guy.
Yeah, and then Marty's just coming towards the end of it and everything, and he's like unbelievable, can't believe it. So he looks at this picture and everything, and at the beginning of the film and everything, when he's showing Doc, the picture of him, his brother, and his sister, they're starting to fade away. So he sees that he's starting to fade away now after his brother and sister disappeared, so he's got to rush back. And during that time that he was caught by Biff's guys, he's thrown in a trunk. Yep. The trunk of the guys who's playing at the band.
The musician.
Yeah.
The guitarist.
And they were actually the lead singer was supposed to be related to Chuck Berry. Yeah. So it's Marvin Berry and the Starlights is the name of the group, and they're a fictional group. So they're playing at the dance and everything. So they're trying to get him out of there. Out of the trunk, and the guy who plays guitar slices his hand. So when Marty comes back to him and says, "Listen, you guys got to play and everything, because if they don't play, they don't play, they don't dance, they don't dance, they don't kiss, and they don't fall in love, and I'm history." And they're like, "Man, the dance is over unless you know somebody who can play." And so they cut, and Marty's playing guitar. And the thing back then, basically white guys are not known to play guitar.
It was pretty plain, Yeah. Not a lot to it, but he decides to step it up a notch.
Yeah, and then, after they get to the dance and everything, George is dancing with Lorraine. She's like, "Are you going to kiss me?" "I don't know." And then one guy just cuts in and everything. George is like, "All right, well." And then Marty starts fading away. Close-up of his hand starts disappearing, and he's like, "George." And then suddenly George, you think Marty's about to disappear, and then George comes in and says, "Excuse me," pushes the guy away. And then, with all the orchestra music.
It's the confidence boost right there.
Yeah.
I took on my nemesis. This guy's nothing.
Yeah, and then he takes her and he kisses her, and then next Marty jumps back up and he's back to normal, and he looks at the picture. Looks at the picture, and then all the his brother and sister comes back, and everything's fine.
Not right now, Wyatt.
So, but everything seems to be fine and dandy. They're like, the lead singer of the group and everything. He's like, after singing Earthly Angels, like, "Hey man, that was great and everything. Let's do another one. Let's do something that really cooks." And he talks Marty into performing and everything. So Marty's like, "Well, this is an oldie." Well, it's an oldie where I come from. So what happens is that he's like, "Okay, listen to the rhythm and blues, watch the beat, and try to keep up."
There you go.
And next he turns around and he's playing Johnny Be Good, and he's playing it real well.
The hell out of it. You get the power slide in there. You get the jumps off.
Yeah, he gets Pete Townsend whim, and he gets the
on the back, the raking.
The Jimi Hendrix, everything, every guitar styles and everything. And what people don't know is that the sound of the guitar, it wasn't Michael J. Fox actually playing. It was a guy named Brian May who actually was playing and doing the vocals for the song Johnny Be Good. But he was just playing away, and then he starts, as I said, really carried away. He started doing the Chuck Berry, and during that time and everything, the lead singer of the group and everything's like, "Yo, Chuck, this your cousin Marvin Berry." And he goes, "You know that new sound you listened to for? Well, listen to this." And he puts it out, towards the stage and everything. And so basically, Marty McFly helps, iterate rock and roll music. So, because Chuck Berry and Little Richard are and Elvis Presley, they come around a few years later and they make rock and roll popular.
Oh yeah.
So after the dance and everything, after the song's over and everything, he realized that he went a little too far.
Yeah.
And he started getting more Van Halen style.
Staring at him.
You know, and then Strickland's like going like this.
Yeah.
So Marty comes off the stage after he's done, and he's like, well, I guess you guys aren't ready for that, but your kids are gonna love it.
Yeah.
So he comes down off the backstage and everything in the back room and towards the exit and everything. And he sees his parents standing there, and he's like, "You mind?" You know, Lorraine's like, "You mind if George takes me home?" He's like, "Oh no, great. I had a feeling about you too." So and when he's about to depart and everything, he goes, "Oh, if you ever have kids and one of them sets fire to the living room rug, you know, take it easy on them." Yeah. Which, you know,
obviously it was something he did in the future.
So,
actually, Leah Thompson mentions that she likes the name Marty.
Yeah,
which is probably where he got his name.
Exactly.
I don't know how George
he's lucky
McFly felt about, you know, wait, you're gonna name it just after a random guy we knew in high school.
Yeah, well, I mean, he probably see Marty as, you know, the guy who helped me out.
I don't know. You still better not name my kids after somebody else. No. Yeah, my old lady will have a throwdown or something like that. No. I don't care if it's Benjamin Franklin. I don't think so.
Well, what if he's really rich?
He better be paying me. He ain't going to get my kid's name.
But what was great about it, though, is that it was a really sweet moment.
Yeah.
And then, you know, he walks out and starts heading towards the clock tower. And one of my favorite scenes and everything, and my youngest brother, Matthew, and everything would do the same thing. He would go, you would see Doc walk up to the camera and goes, "Damn, where's that kid?" And then he goes, "Damn," and takes out another watch. "Damn." And he looks at the camera and everything, and he hears Marty pull up and everything. And so Marty's, you know, telling Doc, like, you know, "My old man came through. He knocked Biff out with one punch." And then he says he never served a Biff a day in his life. And he shows him the picture, and Doc's looking at the picture. He goes, "Never?" And Doc knew that something's going to change. Yeah. Marty's going to come back to a different future.
Oh, yeah.
But he just, like, shakes it off and everything. So he tells him everything that's going on.
He didn't let Marty tell him about the future, so he's not... I figure it was more he wasn't 100% sure that it was any different, you know. But and so Marty and them, you know, they tell him exactly everything that needs to be done and everything. Told him he has a white line painted off over the street, way over there. And then when the alarm goes off on the clock and everything, that's when you start. Take off full speed.
So while Doc is looking through his pockets, you know, Marty's ready to go, and he notices Marty had left the letter. And Doc's like, "I told you about this," and he starts ripping up the letter. And then while they're trying to argue and everything, you know, a tree branch falls onto the wire.
Takes the wire down. The wire was leading from the clock tower across a set of lamp posts. Now, they had rigged up a ingenious metal hook that the DeLorean was going to take off, and by the time it hit 88 miles an hour, this hook was going to hit the wire. After the clock tower was struck by lightning, the lightning would be deflected in a lightning rod straight into the time circuits.
Yes.
Which, you know, as he said, tree came down, took down the wire. They had to quickly scramble to get, you know, where they had to be. That's where Doc Brown actually climbs the clock tower to get the wire reconnected.
So, yeah, and then, you know, that made a whole little bit of adventurous scenes and everything out of that.
It was very suspenseful at that point. You know, you were
it became an action adventure.
Oh, yeah.
And so Doc was, you know, Marty goes off and drives off. And during that whole time, you know, Doc's getting everything set up and everything. And, you know, he realizes Marty's on his way. You know, after Marty had tried to start the car, and it died on him again.
Yeah.
So Marty's like banging on it, trying to get it on there, and then finally he hits his head on the steering wheel. It starts up. So Marty is on his way to the end of the street, and Doc finally realizes, you know, after he's got everything hooked up, he gets it hooked up, and then he realizes down at the end it's unplugged again. Yep. So he decides, you know, he looks at the time, he looks at the wire.
Decides to zip line.
Yeah,
right
he zips down all the way,
yeah.
And then he breaks it off of the branch and everything. During that whole time, Marty's like accelerating to 88 miles per hour. The light starts flashing off into the wheels and everything, the fire, and then you know, Doc at that moment, the lightning crashes right onto the clock tower, and you know, you see the lightning go all the way up to the lamppost, and he's like, "Doc," and all of a sudden, you know, he gets it hooked up at the right moment, at the exact moment and everything. He gets shocked and everything, so you think, oh.
Oh, yeah.
And then the DeLorean goes right under the lamppost and everything and just disappears, and the trail of fire goes right up to the movie theater.
Yeah.
That's right next to the courthouse. Well, my youngest brother Matthew, would reenact this scene
With a,
over
okay.
and over.
He didn't drive into a movie theater.
No.
Okay.
He didn't drive in a movie theater, but no, he would reenact this scene and everything because he had the Ghostbuster house
Oh, there you go.
that he used as a clock tower. And I took a little watch and I put it on top of there.
There you go.
And he had Ecto 1, so he would use that, and because it would have the bzzz noise,
Yeah.
and he would, you know, have a wire hooked up to something and everything. He'd always have like the little Doc Brown.
You see, now
model.
this is the whole thing about growing up in that time. You know, kids had imagination.
Yeah.
It wasn't about, you know, all the details to the toy.
Yeah,
It was
and the
fact
video
they
games
could,
or no.
Yeah, it was the fact that they could really put some time and thought into it.
Yeah, and my reason my brother did that because in the scene in the middle of the film and everything, Doc made this little model of Hill Valley and everything, and he showed how, you know, basically what we were going to do. So my brother thought that was a great idea. He was just probably not even maybe 10 years old or something like that at the time. So what happened was is that he would reenact the scene and everything. He'd actually wear my mom's gown and everything to look like Doc Brown's coat and everything, you know, and he would slide, you know, pretend he was sliding down, you know. As I said, it was just, you know, it was just the funnest thing, you know. And
it was an iconic movie. I mean, it touched pretty much anybody who's seen it on multiple levels, you know, from comedy to action thriller. I mean, it was a great movie. It still is a great movie.
Yeah.
You know, I can watch it over and over.
I can
and
say
over
here.
again.
I'm saying it has no limits, and when it comes to being, it's a timeless classic.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes up there.
I think at the time it was out, it was just an instant classic. It's one of those movies people went to see, they connected with it.
Just like Star Wars, Ghostbusters of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, the 80s, if you ask me, the 80s,
golden age of film.
yes, it is.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Golden
I mean, there's so many, even movies that didn't,
movies that came out.
movies that didn't even make a lot of money back in the 80s are still classics.
I mean,
and everything.
you had some from the 70s, you know, that went up into the 80s, you know, like the Jaws franchise, you know, stuff like that. But, I mean, just that period in film was less about special effects, more about the acting, you know, more about the story. I think it's why they're trying to remake so many of them nowadays. You know, they're trying to recapture that, but I think that whole era was just lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
You know?
And then when Marty gets back to the future, he's back in 1985 downtown Hill Valley, and he then notices, you know, the car dies on him again, and a van passes by him, a Volkswagen van, and he realizes
the
Libyans.
Yeah.
So he jumps over the bomb that's showcased throughout most of the things. And actually, if you realize, the bomb in the show and everything is called Red, and he's actually the former mayor of Hill Valley.
Yeah.
So, and he showcased that in this and in the second one. So,
Which, you know, that mayor owes Marty McFly a thank you card.
Yeah.
Mayor Wilson.
Yeah.
He was basically the shopkeeper at the diner.
Yeah.
He was mopping the floor when Marty McFly, as Calvin Klein, as he was called in the time, mentioned to him that he'd one day be mayor.
Yeah.
And that actually
happens.
I would say that would be the point where you could really think, you know, forethinking in the 80s, because the owner of the diner actually looks at him and says, "A colored mayor, that'll be the day."
Yeah. And the funny thing is that the guy who owns Lou Cafe, he was the voice of Aquaman back in those days.
There you go.
Back in the old 60s Filmation TV show, or 70s and late 60s, early 70s Filmation TV show, cartoon of Aquaman. So that's a little Easter egg.
Oh, somebody will be thinking, you know, one time I can find Aquaman saying something racist.
But okay, so he gets there and he gets back to now Lone Pine Mall. Since Marty ran over the other pine tree, it's now considered Lone Pine, and he basically what they call is a duplicate paradox.
Yeah.
He gets to witness the events that he just left. So what happens is that he witnesses everything in a different point of view, and he runs down and finds Doc still laying there dead. So while he's there, kind of crying and everything that he was too late, he realizes Doc
Yeah, he read the note.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he wakes up and everything. He gets up and he looks at Doc, or looks at Marty, and he's like, "You're alive." And he pulls out the note and everything.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What happened to all that talk about
Well, it was one of
about
those
future events, the space-time
It wasn't
continuum?"
one of those occasions where you should practice what you preach. If you're going to get shot by Libyans, beware of that.
Yeah. And so, but he's like, "Well, I figured, what the hell?"
Yeah.
So Doc brings him back home, and Marty asks him, "So how far are you going?" "Well, about 30 years. Nice round number." And so they go ahead, and Doc drives off and goes into the future. Marty goes back into his room. Marty wakes up. Everything seems to be normal. So he walks into the kitchen. He looks over, yawning and everything, and he's got a glimpse of what his living room looks like, and he jumps back in and he looks around.
Yeah.
Everything has changed.
Yeah, it's completely different.
Yeah,
I mean, all the
better furnished. And
oh yeah, yeah. Well, all the shenanigans that he'd gotten into, in 1955, just improved his life.
Yeah.
I mean, everything from his mother and father to their living conditions to even his siblings.
Yeah. Even though that they seem to be successful, they're still living at home.
Yeah, for some reason.
Yeah, that's
you
called
can be
being cheap.
Yeah, you can be a businessman and still live at home. It's fiscally
But
responsible.
His brother was working when he left. His
Yep.
brother was working for Burger King, and his sister was not the most
Yeah.
desirable woman in the world.
Yeah, she was a stay-at-home. I would say couch potato, but I think that'd be an insult to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was waiting for boys to call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but they completely changed their persona,
Yep.
vice versa. And then he looks and sees that his parents are coming in. They're coming back from a country club, and they're totally,
His
dressed
mom,
different.
instead of being wore down, alcoholic, is actually in a better
More attractive
situation.
40-year-old
She's more
woman.
attractive. I mean, she's just got back from tennis.
Yeah.
She's in a better mood. She's happy.
And his dad's not, greasing
Yeah.
his hair black
Yeah.
and everything, and he's, he's, much more
Yeah.
confident person.
He comes to find out that he's become a famous author.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he just, when he's like, the mother's like, so you're gonna go to the lake?
Yeah.
It's like, can't do it. Car's wrecked, because Biff wrecked the car in the beginning of the film. And he's like, wrecked. And they're like, what's going on? Like, hold on. George is like, hold on, I'm sure everything's fine. So there's Biff out there waxing it right now, and you see Biff waxing his car. Biff has got a waxing detail company and everything that
He was
serving George now.
He was actually riding the coattails of George in the beginning of the movie, using George's work to further his own career.
Yeah.
And you just see the tables completely turn.
Exactly.
George McFly, famous author. Biff, mop monkey.
Yeah, basically. So everything's turned good, and then Marty's like kind of looking over, can't believe that Biff is like, I'm sorry, Mr. Fly, I'll make sure there's a second coat.
It was like a personality switch.
Yeah.
Is what happened. I mean, Biff in the beginning of the film is, all confidence, all down on, George McFly. George McFly is, the timid, just yes sir,
Yeah.
You almost don't realize the man has a neck because he's got his shoulders up here, he's waving his arms around,
Yeah.
just the complete switch of that was just comical. At the
Yeah.
end of the film, it was a real payoff to see that. I mean, it was epic.
Yeah. And I have to say though, when he closed the door and within seconds and everything,
Oh, yeah.
the speediest delivery I've ever seen in my life. But they get a book and everything, and it's George's first novel, and it's like A Match Made in Space. His name, I believe.
I believe so.
And the main characters, it's a boy and a girl, and in between them and everything is a guy dressed in the radiation suit that Marty wore.
Suit, yeah.
So Marty.
The whole thing was a shot back on a shot back. I
Yeah.
mean, if you think about it, Marty got the idea to dress up in the radiation suit by his father's love of science fiction,
Yeah.
which then, his father references him personally
Yeah.
into a book that's science fiction.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of, like I said, just a shot back on a shot back.
So what happens next is that Marty, is giving these keys. You're like, Biff goes up, you're all waxed up, ready for tonight.
Yeah.
And he's like, keys. So he goes out and opens up the garage, and there's this Toyota 4x4 truck, which he saw in the beginning of the film and thought it'd be cool to have. And then his girlfriend, Jennifer, pops up and everything, and she's like, how about a ride, mister? And he's like, God, I haven't seen you for a week. And she's like, yeah, like you haven't seen, I haven't. So as soon as they're about to kiss, because every time they're about to kiss and everything, something happens that interrupts them to kiss. And what happens is that they feel this flash and this breeze and everything, and Doc comes up, and it's the DeLorean, and he gets out of his car and he's dressed up in all his future getup.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, Marty, you're gonna come back with me. Where? Back to the future. So, and he's like getting in the garbage and everything. He's like, Doc, what are you doing? I need fuel. And he finds out that the flux capacitor is being now fueled by fossil fuels and recycling through a thing called Mr. Fusion.
Yeah, it's one of those future technologies Doc Brown happened to pick up in the future. Worried about paradox the whole time. He's bringing stuff back from the future already and retrofitting the car.
So what's happening is that, he's trying to tell him, listen, Marty, we've got to go, what happens? Marty's like, what, he become assholes or something? And he goes, oh, no. You and Jennifer comes out fine. It's your kids, Marty. There's something we got to do about your kids.
Oh, yeah.
So what they do is, back up the DeLorean, and Marty's like, hey, Doc, there's not enough
subdivision, short roads.
There's not a road, not enough to go back to 88 miles per hour. And he goes, roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Flicks down these sunglasses.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, you see the back of the van, the DeLorean, and the tires fold up, and it flies off. Now, this was not meant for a sequel at all. Bob Gale and Robert Zemeckis did it as a joke.
Oh, yeah.
They never had any premonition about they were just hoping that Back to the Future would be a hit. So it goes off and it flashes, and the movie's over and everything. The DeLorean heads towards the camera, and it goes to black, and the credits start rolling. So that was the movie, and then of course when it came out, it ended up being again the biggest blockbuster of the year. I mean, it just grew and grew. People. It's
something you still see on today.
Yeah, and it was just a wonderful, monumental film. One of the greatest time travel movies of all time.
It's been referenced in many streams of media. Just from everything from a video game, it's been referenced in multiple, shows as well as multiple, other movies. Ideas taken from it, fading pictures and whatnot.
And what is great about it is that I didn't get to see. What was bad about it is I didn't get to see it in theaters.
Yeah.
I can't really understand why. We still had the Valerie Theater in Inverness, Florida, downtown Inverness was still open at that time, but I got home from school, and this is around the time that it was coming out on VHS for the first time, and it was sitting there on top of the TV waiting for me when I came home to school. My mom says, okay, you watch this, and after that you do your homework and everything. So I got to watch it and everything, and this is how they announced the sequel, because they knew this was a big property, and they knew this movie was such a monster hit. This was 1986 when it came out on VHS, when they actually gave it time for people to settle down and everything. It wasn't like 6 months later. A movie comes out in theaters, everything for a couple months, and then 4 months later it's out on the home video market. But at the end of what they did is they tweaked the ending and everything. When the DeLorean came towards the camera, this time it went flash and it said to be continued.
Yeah.
That was how they announced that there was going to be a sequel. And I looked at my mom like, wow, there is actually going to be a sequel. And I'm like, when is this going to happen? And unfortunately, almost 5 years later is when it happened. So